Hey everyone, thanks for being here. I wanted to share my story, my spiritual DNA activation story. I'm going to answer four questions. So how I got into DNA activation, I want to share that. I also want to talk about what I gained. So what were the benefits of having my spiritual DNA activated? And I also want to share what's involved in an activation. So if you're interested in it, you can learn about it. And then who is this for and who is it not for, basically. So I got into this really by chance, but of course, nothing is by chance. Everything, there's no coincidences. I got involved in this basically, it was the universe saying, okay, it's time for you to learn. It was March 2020. I was just wrapping up the first round of my course, Soul to Social. And in that course, I talk a lot about energy and how to maintain your energy, how to honor your energy. And basically, I'm going at it from an emotional perspective. So I do this because I believe that when women honor their energy and understand their energetic cycles, they can feel more confident and more at ease when they're showing up on social media. So I was talking a lot about that. And I was starting to get really curious about the spiritual aspect of energy, because I've always considered myself a spiritual person. I believe in synchronicity. I believe in magic. I know that there's more to life than what we can see. So that course was ending. I was starting to get interested in learning more about that. And at the same time, my good friend April Monique was learning about DNA activation. And in part of that, becoming a practitioner is you have to pass an exam and you need to have somebody to practice on. And she gifted me that experience. And so I hadn't been thinking about becoming a practitioner at all, but I ended up going in the Woo Collective. This is where you can learn the Radical Guide DNA activation method. And I went in there and I said, I'm interested in learning about energy. What should I learn? And immediately Lorene Malley came back and said, DNA activation, absolutely. Because I knew I didn't want to do Reiki. Not that there's anything wrong with Reiki. It's just, it didn't feel like the thing for me. And basically that was it. I started learning DNA activation in March. And at the same time, at exactly the same time, pretty much a few days apart, April had activated my DNA. So what happened? What did I experience? And this is so significant to me because it's not like I had been looking to get this energy healing. I was feeling quite confident. Actually, at that point, to social was successful. I felt it was successful. I was teaching women about how to tap into their intuition. So I thought I had a pretty good grasp of that for myself. But the deactivation just up-leveled that to the max. It didn't happen all at once, but I would say a month into it, I was already feeling so much more confident. A lot of layers were starting to fall away. And one of the things about deactivation is that you receive a report, and in that report you receive information about specific shadows that are important for you to face in this lifetime that are holding you back from being your full self. And in the report, I had discovered that my biggest, and it was not a surprise, my biggest shadow was called effort, or it was called force in the report. But basically, I see it as efforting, like trying hard, hustling. And if I had, you could look back in my journals, and I already knew this. The verb that would define me would be trying too hard, trying to fit in, trying to do this, trying to do the right thing. The verb was just kind of like, it defined my life. But when I was teaching Soul to Social, I thought I had that covered. But no, I still had a lot to do. And so the deactivation process, what happens is that we facilitate the process of removing energetic seals that are on your spiritual DNA. When those seals are removed, what happens is that energy is allowed to flow freely. You don't have the blocks that you normally have. And so it's so much easier to face the things you couldn't face before, just because energy is flowing freely. And so I was, for the first time, able to face my challenges with trying too hard. And so through the process, through the support of April, because this is another thing about the deactivation process, it's not just a one-shot deal. You have support from your mentor, your spiritual mentor, the person who facilitated the activation. I was able to basically bust through all that. I mean, I had spent years trying to bust through it. I knew self-trust was my biggest issue. And I'm sitting here today telling you that I fully trust myself. I mean, I'm human, so maybe 5% of that ego stuff remains. I'm not saying I'm enlightened or anything, not at all. But the doubt I used to have in myself, the need to hustle in order to get things done, I don't do that anymore. Now I know that if I listen to my intuition, then things are going to be okay and things are going to fall into place. So that's another benefit of the deactivation for me, is my ability to listen to my intuition and act on it just quadrupled. So now my business is completely run on me listening to my intuition, and it's just an incredible benefit. If you've ever dealt with doubt, anxiety, or even if you're just curious about what it means to live an authentic life, to live authentically, because this is another thing I feel now. I'm a soul seeker to the core. I was always curious about, what does this mean, authentic, to be authentic, your authentic self? And now, because I can listen to my intuition, I can be my authentic self, because I'm not hustling to be something else or to fit in. I don't really care what other people think anymore. I mean, I'm still human again, as I have to function in society. That's, I know that, but it's not taking over my life and it's not ruling my decisions every day. And that is a huge freedom. So I feel like I understand who I am now. I feel I can move through life knowing who I am with confidence and showing up in the world and sharing the things I've always wanted to share. I don't have to look outside of myself for validation or affirmation or confirmation. And it's just such a relief. Those are some of the benefits. It's different for everyone. Everyone comes to this with a different path, and deactivation is going to meet you where you are. Deactivation is not a magic pill. When you come to deactivation, you need to be willing to do some reflective work. So if you're coming here and you just want somebody to say, okay, it's done, no, that's not going to work. What the deactivation does, as I said, it supports you in becoming who you are, and that requires some reflective work. Part of the process is basically, I, as the deactivation practitioner, facilitate the activation process. You don't have to be in the same room. We don't have to be in the same room. Energy doesn't have any boundaries. So I facilitate the process. And then after that, we're together for about 3 weeks. And throughout the whole thing, I'm by your side on Voxer, audio message, text message. You have access to me daily, where we can communicate about what you're experiencing or what you're not experiencing, because that's my role, is to help see what's going on and what's beneath the surface, right? It's not so tangible. It's a very subtle process, but it's powerful. So I help you there. I help guide you. I help you understand that. And then at the end of the 3 weeks or the end of 2 weeks, I send you a report with all the channeled messages that you receive, because that's part of it. When you're activated to 24 strands, you can be activated to 48 strands. They're 2 different processes, but to 24 strands, you get channeled messages, and all that is in your report. So it's quite a rigorous process, rigorous on my side. There's a lot of work to do and a lot of information to relay to you at the end. If you are ready to step it up, if you're ready to move into your authentic self so that you can be who you want to be, who you dream of being, do what you dream of doing, then deactivation is for you. And I am so, ready to support you in experiencing this and to guide you through it. So if you have any questions at all, please send me a message, and we will get through it together. So thank you so much for being here, and yeah, take care. Bye.